so the last question is, what were some of the intriguing things that you learned from the readings? So I feel like a lot of things that the reading said, we kind of used to like do our conversation in the last questions. Yeah. So I feel like we talked about a lot of this.
Yeah. I mean, we hit on some specific things, but I think they're over broader aspect of what the articles were talking about is how patient-centered care is sometimes more effective than evidence-based practice or just medical practice. Sometimes that can get you more results and better results with doctors and any other health professions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and definitely, like the one thing we talked about is just patients. They're seeing them improve and get better, and just like better life, and that's the whole. Like one of the articles which talked about the three things that patient-centered care involves. The last thing they said was that you look at the person and promote like a healthy lifestyle and like look at them as a whole person. And so it makes sense that when you're pushing that, you're seeing better lifestyles come out of like these patient-centered care experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So
one thing I saw in the articles was about like hospitals and clinics and stuff kind of faking patient-centered care, where they have like greeters, art hanging in the lobbies and stuff to make you feel welcome, like they are cared about you. But once they actually start like an evaluation or whatever with the doctor, they just go right back to the same thing, asking questions, not looking at you, just trying to get you in and out instead of inviting you into the conversation too.
Going along with that, I know in some offices or hospitals they have like cubicle setups where it's just a line, so you go and fill out your information, go along. I mean, I think patient-centered care starts initially with that in the doctor's office.
yeah, you have to start somewhere.
So they have cubicles and they have people sitting behind them and they just type in information and stuff like that. So I feel like that starting out doesn't give a good representation of what patient-centered care is.
Right. And also, but I also feel like you don't need like readers and like that kind of stuff because that makes you feel like you're at Walmart. But I mean that receptionist it's kind of like a check you in, put a bracelet on you, do whatever, and then I mean I feel like it's up to the healthcare providers. Like that receptionist is just working as a receptionist. They're the person that's allowed to sit there and like mindlessly type and do filing and paperwork and stuff. Like that's their job. And I mean, yeah, you teach them to be welcoming when they first meet you, but it's up to the doctor to be like, okay, I'm going to sit here and listen to you and like care and ask in-depth questions, not just the common ones.
Well, you say that, but you could also argue that the doctor's job is just to take care of them. They're not supposed to get to know you. They're just supposed to take care of you. So I really do think that it does start with the beginning. I mean, they don't have to do everything the doctor does because they can just be a little personal. Like,
a receptionist can be taught to be nice, and taught like how they're supposed to act and everything. But like, you usually go into that situation and that person's not sitting next to you on a stool or on a chair. They're behind a desk and a computer, and like I feel like that's okay.
I feel like that kind of detaches you right there, though.
Right.
I do think
that's in the way.
You brought that up, and I do think it would be better if we could like have side-by-side interaction. I mean, not necessarily see the screen, but like side-by-side interaction. Because I know.
But why not just send them straight into the doctor then? Because if you go that in depth with a receptionist or somebody that's just putting a bracelet on you, you're just gonna have to repeat yourself again, which makes you feel like not cared about because that information doesn't get carried over as much to the doctor.
I get
so
that.
Then you might as well just go talk to the doctor right then when you're like ready to tell your whole life to them.
I get that. I know here I've seen some. I've worked in student financial services, so I know they talk about how put a desk against the wall instead of having a separation of the desk between you because that opens up a conversation and
when you turn your chair.
And I know doctors' offices do that a lot. They don't have a desk. They have a patient room where they can be on like a stool and everything, which I know helps a lot.
And then they're right there with you.
But I think sometimes the doctor's offices, if you go into like their office, they'll have that desk in between. I mean, which I think does add a barrier.
Yeah, but then it's also like, I mean, in huge hospitals and everything, like it makes sense that you need a receptionist, but then at the same time, like how good is that job almost because we work without receptionists and we take care of everything on our own. And I know we're not, I mean, we don't have as much filing or, kind of stuff going on and people coming in and out. But at the same time, maybe that person's job should just be to smile, say hi, and put a bracelet on you before you see the
And
doctor.
get you to the doctor like as fast as they
Yeah,
I get
and
that.
just and then you're like waiting in the office forever, which that sucks because then you feel like not cared
That
about.
TV,
Yeah.
TV entertain you.
So I don't know because we don't work like athletic trainers. We don't have like a receptionist, and I know in like some cases.
But we also have
they're-
students to also take care of.
Yeah.
Do a lot of that stuff too. So I mean, not saying students do the receptionist work,
right.
but there is
That first contact.
there is a line with the students and then the certifieds also. If you work in an institution like this.
But you could be an athletic trainer in a clinic and same thing.
Mhm.
They would see the receptionist first
Yeah.
before they got to you too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and then there's that interaction within a doctor's office between a nurse also before the doctor,
Mhm.
which again sometimes just takes your blood work or just takes some questions before you actually get to the doctor.
Right, but then sometimes it's the nurse or the PA or whatever that
I get that.
cares more about you because that doctor is working on. I mean, when I go to like my GI doctor, the intervals of like meeting or whatever is less than 15 minutes with the doctor. So I'm coming in and I'm really sick with like a huge problem that's been bugging me, and the nurse gets 30 minutes with me, and the doctor comes in for 5 or 10 and is gone. And I don't know. I don't like
I
that.
think,
and I almost would rather just be seeing the nurse.
Regulations like that I think are really hurting patient-centered care because they have stipulations of how much time they get with them, and I think that really does hurt a lot of the time you can get to know a patient. I mean, I understand the reasoning behind that because doctors are busy and they need certain schedules to go with
But
that.
at the same time, they don't have to follow that like boom, boom, boom. Like I mean, there's a difference between having a doctor that at least acts engaged and makes that 15, 10 minutes feel like 30, or it's they're looking at their clock and rushing you, and you're trying to talk. I mean, I've literally. It just reminds me of one experience because my GI doctor, I literally was in there talking to him like about all these problems I was having, and he was like cutting me off in the middle of like what I was trying to tell him, and also like coming from a healthcare like major and like also I work in healthcare, it sucks because I already like I know and I know what I want to tell him and I know all these things, and he's cutting me off, and I was like, I'm ready to go now, like I'm done. And it just gave me a super bad vibe the whole time. So but I don't know. That's just like personal experience, and I get heated about it, but oh well. And it makes me not want to go back to him too because nothing's been done. And then
that also hurts your health also because if you don't want to go to the same doctor, then you have to go to another one
and
it
start
takes
over.
that
start all
process.
over again, which just hurts everything going on.
Exactly.
I think that's part of the patient-centered care too, is how long you've like been seeing a doctor. Because if you like switch or go to a new one, or if you're like
Shuts off all the whole vibe if you really know one. It's like when my barber retired, I was like, who am I going to go see now?
Yeah. Yeah, I still haven't made an appointment at the GI doctor yet